Good morning, Malcolm Nance.
Good morning, Steffi.
No news to speak of, but let's do the best we can. Wow, wow, wow! You tweeted the conspiracy in plain sight was when Cohen heard Stone tell Trump about the Clinton emails before WikiLeaks dumped before the DNC convention. That's eyewitness test evidence of conspiracy. Boom.
God.
Yeah.
The schadenfreude deliciousness of this whole thing came to its head yesterday, not just with his testimony and saying all of this on camera in sworn testimony, but when WikiLeaks came out yesterday and started tweeting and saying that it was common knowledge that they were going to release and had all this Hillary Clinton stuff.
Yeah.
That was on July 22nd.
Yes.
He said this meeting was on the 18th or the 19th.
Yes.
And right now, as of today, someone has identified a phone call that was actually made on the 16th between Roger Stone and Donald
Well,
Trump.
this is what Cynthia Oxney said earlier to us, Malcolm. Mueller's got to
Hmm.
have other evidence besides Cohen's testimony, correct?
And Cohen's testimony is sworn testimony. He can go to jail for much longer than he's going right now if he lied. He had no reason to lie. He had no reason to make that up. I think he was an eyewitness. I think he was right there. I think you have conspiracy in plain sight, and Donald Trump and Roger Stone are scrambling because this is prison for Stone. And it is clearly, Trump tweeted yesterday, no collusion. No, you're right. No collusion. Conspiracy to
Yep.
defraud the United States.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
I mean, but almost stunning, Malcolm. Not just that, right? Tax fraud, wire fraud, bank
Oh
fraud.
my God.
You've always
You,
said this is going to be a RICO money
RICO
laundering.
case.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'll take credit for that one. I'm the first person to say in January 2017 that this is all going to amalgamate into a RICO case. And it's going to. I couldn't keep up. I mean, I started yesterday at
Yeah.
midnight when they made the statement, when they put the sworn testimony out, and I was up all night just trying to process all of this.
I
And to
know.
give you a good idea, that yesterday the Washington Post had to put out an article called "The 10 Takeaways." I mean, 10?
Right.
That's
Yeah.
how many particular avenues of criminality that he was talking about. It's almost too much.
And let's talk about the Republicans for a second. Represent, you were a lifelong Republican. I obviously come from a Republican family. Representative Raskin said the Republicans are not upset because you lied to Congress for the president. They are upset because you stopped lying to Congress for the president. Um,
That's
and Nicole Wallace said the remarkable, ridiculous thing about the myriad House GOP conspiracies is that somehow they're all carried out by Republicans or Trump supporters. Cohen, Comey,
yeah.
McCabe, Sessions, Rosenstein, Mueller. Right?
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. And they were furious at Cohen, just furious at him and calling him a liar. It's like, hey, man, you're talking about Trump's personal lawyer, his closest confidant, and the vice chairman of the Republican National Committee's finance,
Yeah.
committee. This man is a hardcore Republican, and to suddenly come out and say, well, he's a liar and everything that he did was criminal, was for a liar and a criminal.
Right.
And so they have condemned their party. Somebody said yesterday, not one time did any of the Republicans mention the word Trump.
Nope.
Not once. They had their orders, and like you said, their job was, their job was the cult members who go out and kill the cult member that has escaped, right?
Hmm.
They wanted to tear him down personally, but it is an indictment of everyone in the Republican Party that they endorse this corruption.
What stood out to you? Obviously, as author of "Plot to Hack America" and "Plot to Destroy Democracy."
Mm.
What I mean, what were your like when you talk about writing an article about biggest takeaways? I mean, where do you start? But what did strike you the most?
Well, of course, what struck me the most was what you started with, which was that he was in the room where it happened when Roger Stone called Donald Trump and told him that he had spoken to Julian Assange and that they had the WikiLeaks information in advance of the WikiLeaks major dump in July 22nd. Now, again, WikiLeaks keeps saying that, oh, well, we had made it known that we had some of this information back in June. Yeah, when you were talking to Kuchev 2.0, aka the Russian military intelligence apparatus, And then they went into full conspiracy with them. That Trump would know about this in advance, it speaks to everything that he said. It speaks to his July 27th Russia, if you're listening statement. It literally is the heart of the conspiracy. And now there are, not just that there are witnesses that will have phone records. They want to bring in the secretary, Ron Rona, right? And to now testify. This is going to be a grand conspiracy. And of course, it provides, all the material for my third book. It's writing itself,
Yeah, I'll
you
say.
know. All
What?
I'm saying
What?
is the word treason is in that
Well,
title.
let's talk about Don Jr. because
Boy,
he was implicated in more than one felony yesterday, right? I mean, I
yeah,
didn't know he
but
was involved in the payoffs, which is also defrauding the American people, right? The porn star payoff.
well, he was involved with the payoffs because the Trump Foundation was the criminal piggy bank for the entire Trump family operation. Other than the checks that Donald Trump wrote himself out of his personal account, the rest were coming from the Trump Foundation. They're supposedly fake charity organization, and they were using it to buy portraits of Donald Trump through false, straw bidders and others. So Don Jr., as he said in the testimony, Michael Cohen said Don Jr. wouldn't be allowed to do anything. That he was the stupidest person in the Trump family, and the fact that
Someone
he
said it.
has not been interviewed tells you he's going to be
Yep.
indicted. He
Yep.
is a target.
Yep. Yeah, someone said it's like the Godfather, but they're all Fredos. Everyone's Fredo.
It's no Michaels.
Malcolm, talk to me about Prague. About asking. I mean,
You know,
am I wrong to go? There's still something weird. I wish they had followed up with that because I wish they had asked them why was your cell phone pinging outside of Prague? Did someone else have your cell phone?
the whole Prague thing,
Yeah.
I was never a big believer in two things in that story that a lot of people have invested their time, money, and effort into, conspiracy theorying about. First one was the PP tape. That's just, the report, the Steele report. And I'm going to be speaking to Christopher Steele this year, actually this
Wow.
month.
Wow.
Spy to spy chat.
Spy versus
We're
spy.
over beers. So, that story was rumor intelligence, rumit. It's the sort of story that you hear. There's no way to corroborate it, but it's so fantastical that the Russians love it and probably love to tell it. The other one was the story about going to Prague to meet with Russian intelligence to cut a secret deal. We know that the peace plan that was proposed by Michael Cohen, the supposed Ukrainian peace plan, that's real. Okay, people know that it's real. It died a quick death, but the rumor that he was in Prague, that his phone was pinging around there, you know, there's nothing that supports it. He came out flat out and said that wasn't true. But
Hmm.
who needs that?
Yeah. Well, and you always said the PP tape. He should just admit to that. That's the least of everything that's in the
Cop to
dossier.
the hookers, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there are real things inside. You know,
I want to go
who's
for
that
drinks.
laughing?
I want to go for drinks
That
with
was
you.
Malcolm. That was Dana. That made me laugh
Oh,
hard.
Dana.
I want to go for
You,
drinks with you and Christopher Steele. Take me.
oh, sorry. This is going to be held in a super secret
I
location,
bet.
and that's the sort of talk that only two guys from the community would do. The wink and a nod, and But I'm not going to get anything new out of him. I'm just going to, there are things in the Steele dossier that strike me very differently. Like, for example, Trump supposedly promised to report on Russian oligarch activities in the United States. And that's the
Yeah.
one that I famously said, cop to the hookers, right?
Yeah.
On Chris Hayes' show, where I said, that's Espionage Act activity. The
Yeah.
FBI would be tracking you if you did that activity. So there are things in there that are far more damning than, than the P tape. But the P tape, rewind that, ratchet it back 80%. Something happened there where I wouldn't be surprised if he actually said it and then somebody else turned that statement, over vodka or whatever it is, at the Nobu restaurant meeting with the oligarchs into a Trump did it. So,
Yeah.
these things that are sitting before our very eyes, the actual hard intelligence that we have Stick with that.
Yeah,
Stay
exactly.
away from the conspiracy theory.
Exactly. I don't know if you tweet or retweeted, but you said Trump joins Nixon as the second president to lose in Vietnam. That's funny.
No, I tweeted that one.
That's funny.
It's true. It was my first thought. It's just like, are you kidding? You canceled lunch, jumped on an airplane and said, sometimes you need to walk away. No.
Oh my
A
God.
day before you were telling everyone you were in love and that you're exchanging emails. I'm reading the McCabe book. If you guys haven't read, I don't pump too many books, right? Because I
Yeah.
got to sell my own. But that book is awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, Trump is dirty alpha foxtrot.
Well, you can't. Well, as you tweeted, we got rolled part 1. We're no longer demanding North Korea disclose full accounting of nuclear weapons or missiles. Then you said we got rolled part 2. Kim gets an international head of state event, makes Donald Trump an apologist for mass murder, gets to retain all his nukes, and then walks away. Trump got nothing, not even air miles. I mean, what a disaster yesterday was on every front for Donald Trump.
But every minute of that thing, which is why he kicked out the 4 American journalists from the dinner so that he would not have to deal with Michael Cohen. Let me tell you, the tweet that I put out the other night where I said, this is the beginning of the end of this president.
I read that on the air.
That is a fact.
Yeah. And
done
Malcolm,
and done.
What you can't, if you were going to start writing fiction books, could you write this scenario where he is standing next to the murderous dictator, Kim Jong-un, praising him, saying he believes him, that he didn't know anything about Otto Warmbier. Lavrov is in Vietnam with him, and Jarvenka is meeting with MBS yesterday, which didn't even make the... I mean...
I think Juliet Chaim on Twitter put out a tweet where they said, I'm paraphrasing, Ivanka and Jared meeting with a murderer, Trump having dinner with a murderer, all these things going on.
Yeah.
And it was that has to be the worst day of his presidency.
I mean, it's
and the fact that he sat there and became an apologist for a murderer.
I mean, again, not listening to our intelligence, right? Listening to
or common sense. You have to go watch the video of Otto Warmbier begging for his life on North Korean television when he was accused of being a spy. And to say Kim Jong-un doesn't know what's going on there, and that his other part of his statement was, it's rough in Korea. Those prisons are rough. It's a rough time. You just justified murder, right? They beat that man until he died of his injuries and then sent him home on his deathbed. Yeah. And Trump said, I know the Warmbier family. They love me. They trust me. I would, I'll tell you.
Yeah. Yesterday
my family would.
Go ahead.
I was going to say my family would have had a national spectacle if that had happened with Donald Trump. But Trump doesn't care. He's a sociopath. Michael Cohen made it clear. He does not care about people. It is all a mask.
What a day. What a time in history. I'm glad to be on that wall with you. Malcolm Nance, my friend, my patriot. We will talk to you.
This will be fun.
Talk to you next week, honey.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.